You're listening to Easy Travels, an original podcast from Nexion Travel Group. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Easy Travels podcast. My name is Chris, joined as always by the one and only, the incomparable Coach Martin Mussey. Insert applause here. And today we actually have not one but two special guests with us, Rachel Kerr and Michael Capps, both of them not only accomplished travel advisors with Nexion, but leaders of the Military and Travel Group, which is, well, actually, I'll let them tell you about it. They're the experts. Rachel and Michael, welcome to the show. Do you want to just give us a quick rundown of your history in the travel industry before we start talking about the group you're leading? Who wants to go first?
Oh, gentlemen's first.
Oh, thank you very much, Rachel. I was going to defer to you as the senior and more seasoned travel advisor, but I'm happy to go first. I'm Mike Capps, and I am a travel advisor out of Florida. I run Dapper Travels, the owner operator, like many of us are, and it is kind of a Disney cruise and Europe focused travel agency, but we have a little bit of a niche where we try to incorporate fashion into our travel plans. That's certainly how we share our content, what we're wearing and why, when we're doing different activities, going to different locations or different experiences in travel. And I've been in this business since 2021, and I consider Rachel my mentor in this business. So I'll kick it over to her.
Thank you, Michael. So I've been in since 2017. I own Globetreks Consulting. And I have had my business in 4 different states, about to start my 5th because I am a military spouse. So I started my company specifically because I wanted to have a career while constantly having to change my life being in the military, and also to give other people the opportunity to have a career even when they change. So I specialize a lot in luxury, FIT bespoke, family travel, romance travel. I like anything that's super immersive. And yeah, that is my story. And I've been doing the Military and Travel Network since its inception. So I love it. I love my military family, and I love helping the military community.
That's awesome. And thanks. My opportunity now to step into the conversation. Thank you, Chris, by the way. Incomparable. That's like the second time he's mentioned incomparable. So I'm not sure what it is that I'm trying to live up to. But anyway.
There's no comparison to it.
No comparison. Thank you, Chris. So what I'm interested in, and if you could take a little bit of time now that we know about your agencies, Mike and Rachel, military and travel. You know, I have certainly known the both of you since you came into Nexion, and at one time, you becoming and stepping up to become leaders for our military and travel group. Give us just from each of your perspectives, just a little bit of background on what military and travel is as a group.
Yeah, I'll jump on that one first. Military and travel is meant to be a community for everybody in Nexion, Canada and US, where if you are affiliated to the military by being a dependent like myself, or a veteran retiree like Mike is, or you are National Guard, or you are associated by like the civilian world, but working in the military. So it's meant to be a community that has everybody in this similar place that they come from and can understand, because a military life is very different from most people's lives. Like when I tell people I'm moving to my 11th state this June, they're like, it doesn't register very well in many people's heads, or what we do and how we do things, but also understanding a lot of our clients who are military, because there is a very, you can niche in military clients. So I wouldn't say it's something that a lot of people do, but there is a lot that goes behind understanding that world. So the military and travel is meant to be a monthly get together on Zoom where we can connect, support each other, talk about our businesses, especially those that are transitioning from maybe a military job and career to the civilian world as vets or as dependents, or as civilians going from this very military structure life to a non-military structure, and being really supportive of them. So that's, for us, a lot of what the military and travel community is about.
And I think it's a real interesting community because it is nationwide, or I guess you could say international, as it crosses the border there into Canada. Instead of being a regionally focused group like some of our different formalized networks, or a special interest like the Mouseketeers being a special interest group, or the folks that really focus on the tech relating to travel and things like that. It is across the entire continent. It has a breadth of experience from new agents to agents who've been doing this, close to 20 years. A breadth of interest in terms of people that specialize in certain types of travel. Maybe it's, the Caribbean, maybe it's Europe, maybe it is luxury, maybe it is value travel. And so we can all come together in these monthly meetings that Rachel mentioned and share experiences from those perspectives, because some of the challenges you navigate in what you do, whether it's your niche or your experience level, may be similar, but some of them are so different that you're teeing up in these discussions monthly, something you may have experienced, and letting others kind of weigh in on how they would solve the problem, how they would attack that issue. And we all get to use kind of a common vocabulary. I just said how they would attack that issue is a good example of that. Having the military background, understanding some of the same acronyms or some of the same vernacular that you use in the military, sometimes it's a bit of relief as you're talking to clients throughout the week or throughout the month, and having to use very civilian speak, and being able to come back in and say things like, I put this concept of operation together, or I chose a course of action here, and things like that. Language that we're all familiar with because of our military background that means something to us, but we haven't been able to use those same type of phrases with the clients. It's a real great meeting each month.
Those are really cool to hear that from both of your perspectives. As a Nexion staff member, I thought, I'll take a quick moment here to share with everyone listening that how this all got started was really from the basis of our Veterans in Travel program. And this is available to veterans who are looking for a transition career, and many do look to travel. And it is a scholarship type program where they can come in, get some opportunity for learning, education, and then some business coaching that goes along with it. And in the very beginning, folks that were coming into our Veterans in Travel program to become travel advisors, we put together a common group for Veterans in Travel. And in the beginning, it was called that. And quite simply, their connection was they all just came through the Veterans in Travel program. I had wanted to help lead up that community because I came from a military upbringing. I was a dependent. I experienced the travels. My father was in the Army. So, moving to different POS and different duty stations, I knew what that was like. So I was connected to that degree, but having not been in the military and knowing that language, like you're talking about, Mike, knowing it exactly, there was more to it. I knew there was more. So when Rachel and Mike were part of that group and then eventually came to me and said, hey, what would you think if we changed the name of this and made it more specific and more peer-to-peer? I jumped on that immediately, and I couldn't have been, and I am proud, and I couldn't be more excited to have you all a part of it. So a part of this is just to say thank you as well. So thank you both for what it is you do for military and travel.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
To you, the fact that when you guys first approached us, it was the Vets in Travel. And I brought up the point that I was like, well, I'm not a vet, I'm a military dependent. And you guys, I said, can we change it to military and travel? And since then, it's been so much more inclusive of a lot more breadth of people associated with the military, especially the dependent side, which a lot of struggle in finding career and connection because we have such an identity of being a military spouse or a child of the military. And the amount of dependents that have joined the group since then and have really grown their business and feeling like they're being seen as a career and a specialist in an industry that they love and getting to connect has been incredible. The amount of inclusivity we've been able to do through just changing it to Mil and Travel for this network. Now, the Vet in Travel program is still so phenomenal. It's there, it's available, and it's such a great program. That's why I love that the Mil and Travel is about the community once you're in and you're connecting inside Nexion. And it really has been such a wonderful blessing that you guys made it be something so much more larger because we've been able to include so many more people. I mean, we're getting close to almost 100 known people that are connecting into this group.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I was going to, and before I turn over to Chris, ask if you could maybe speak to, and largely you just did, about how it has evolved. Anything else you would add on its evolution now that it is fully military and travel?
Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead. Okay. Well, I'll say that I know that when Rachel and I first started discussing it, kind of in the early planning phases, we were going to model it much after some of the existing networks out there, in particular the Nexion Young Professionals. And we thought, well, they have monthly meetings with suppliers, and they have the get-togethers at the events and things like that. So we were planning on modeling it like that, and we did in the early days of our monthly meetups try to bring on some suppliers to talk with the network. Um, I think we have evolved and realized there's been so much value in our open discussion meetings, or we may have a discussion topic to tee up for the month where everyone's just getting to talk freely, where we've kind of steered away from having regular meetings with suppliers at our monthly meetups, but instead talking to each other and with each other about what we're dealing with or what's on the horizon or the topic of the day. And that's been great discussion. So a little deviation from how other networks had, or the network we were modeling it after, but something that's really, really worked for this community. And I think part of that is because of the breadth of experience. Having people that have been in 20 years meet with the supplier again may not be as relevant, but their wisdom and experience being shared with people that are just transitioning into this has been invaluable.
Another thing that we're evolving in, and this is my 2026 goal, is advocacy for our group. And that's going to go to suppliers or go to like Asta or go to CRMs and softwares and trying to make sure that there are discounts for veterans coming into travel or military coming into travel, and really advocating, because it is a hard transition to go from a military life to a non-military life, emotionally and financially. And so we really want to be there for people in many different ways. And so one of my goals is to make sure that anybody coming into Nexion that has a military affiliation and they're becoming an entrepreneur, going from a very structured background where you're kind of told, here's where you live, here's your paycheck, here's what you do. Now they're in charge and they have to figure it all out. Like, what do I use and who do I use and how do I use? So my goal this year is I've been collecting information of who is military supportive in businesses, such as like there's some CRMs that actually give 25% discounts to veterans if they use their CRM. So I want to try to make more advocacy for our community where there's a lot more of that kind of discounts to help them get their businesses off the ground without them stressing about the financial side as much.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Go ahead, Chris.
So this is a question for both or either one of you. You both talked a little bit about your experience with the military, but what drew you to being leaders for this network? What made you want to take initiative yourselves to lead this group?
I'm happy to start that one. It was Rachel. That's an easy question. I mean, that's not the entirety of it, but in all honesty, Rachel approached me, and I think she made a point earlier that as she was approached about this, knowing that she wasn't a veteran, despite her substantial experience being a military dependent and living the military lifestyle, I think, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it was important to her that there was some type of military personnel involved in the leadership of this. And you can speak to that, Rachel. But even before becoming part of this, Susan Hall had approached me about being a lead of a regional chapter, the North Florida network. And I didn't feel like I was prepared this early in my career to be a leader of a network of people that had potentially much more experience than me. So I was very reluctant to take that on, despite wanting to be involved in a network and recognizing the value of having a network. But when Rachel approached me, knowing that she had plenty of experience, she had already been involved in establishing another network, this kind of fit the bill. I was going to be able to take a leadership role in a national network, along with someone who was going to co-lead that had a lot of experience and was showing a lot of passion to make this something. And so I have to give a lot of credit to Rachel for pulling me into this, but it was something that I was interested in doing. I just didn't think I had the street cred, for lack of a better term, to do this properly until someone was paired with me that did have that kind of credential.
And I got involved because, Coach Martin, you can kind of remind me on this too. is I remember being in believe it was a board meeting, and we were talking about the vets and travel. And so I reached out directly to Nexion and I was like, is there anything I can do to be supporting it? Because, as a military dependent, and I've got almost 40 years experience of being a dependent between my dad's 20 years and my husband's 20 years. I was like, what can I do to be more supportive of our vets coming in? Because clearly I love our veterans program. And so Coach Martin was like, well, okay, you want to do something, here's what you can do. So I said yes. And then immediately, as Mike mentioned, I was like, it's a vet program that we now have the military and travel as the community program. But I did want somebody who had the actual status of vet or active duty. So of course I went to Mike and was like, you are the perfect person to do this. He is being very shy about his leadership skills. I will put this out there. Mike is a retired lieutenant colonel in the Army. He has a lot of experience in leadership. He has a lot of experience in supporting other people. So he has over 20 years to put into this community as a huge resource and asset, and honestly, a champion and cheerleader for others that are doing the same thing he has done, and he's done it successfully.
Yeah, indeed. Well, just the leadership that you both have given to this have given it the growth that we're looking for in military and travel. And that's organic, that's been by design, it's all those things. But, that's one success. But what are some, what I'll call wins or successes that believe that you all have achieved together as a community?
I think some of the biggest successes we've been having, especially this year, we've seen several brand new travel advisors starting their businesses and being not yet like starting to have clients because they've just been trying to get all the processes in place because we can be overthinkers. And Mike and I really come alongside and given some mentorship and some support and seeing people take the lead from I want to do this business to actually doing the business. And so that's been a big win. We've grown a lot. We've taken it from just a couple of us to several dozen people being highly active, being in the community. After each meeting, people are always like, I feel so much more encouraged about doing my business. I learned something today. I didn't know I could save money this way and do it, this in a more efficient process of doing my business. But also just getting together at Connection every year has been such a wonderful community because you can be isolated in this world when we work from home. Even if you have ICs and have employees like I do, I'm still isolated at home. So our community doesn't feel isolated. We see each other physically and then we talk to each other each month. And there is things to be said for mental health when you work alone or coming from a military background with a lot of PTSD, where when you have a support of a community there for you consistently, enthusiastically, then you really can see people embrace and grow. And I've seen a lot of that over the last couple of years where we've all just been there for each other, where we can cheerlead each other and sometimes give each other little kicks in the booty. And I think that that's what's brilliant behind the growth of people in their business in the travel industry, but also in understanding the connection they have with others that are just like them. And I love seeing that. So those are the wins for me.
Yeah, and you saw that Disney gave out an annual pass for military folks this year. That was because of us.
Nice.
It was not. Although I do know that we did meet with Disney in one of our monthly meetups one time, and did talk to them about, hey, what more can you do? How can you support us this way and things like that. So I can't necessarily take credit for that. Rachel is right. I think if you listen to even our most recent Zoom meeting, which we do record, we share on Nexion Town and we share on our Facebook page, so that those that cannot attend live can at least get the lessons learned or the shared exchange out of it. But if you look at that most recent one, she talks about kicking each other in the butt. There was a lot of discussion about making sure you pay yourself first, making sure that the way you're accounting, that you're not leaving yourself out, and managing your money so that this is actually a profitable business for you instead of just letting it overtake you. And there's some accountability in the process, maybe not formalized accountability, but meeting with folks each month, it does allow you to kind of track, hey, how is this initiative that you had put in place going? How is this plan or this new thing that you wanted to bring into your business. How is that going? And so you have a little bit of accountability partners in that regard. But at the same time, in terms of success, and I don't know how tangible this would be, but if you look at what we went from at our original happy hour in New Orleans to the happy hour that we shared in Universal at the two connection events, after a year of meeting together over Zoom calls and really not being in each other's physical presence, when we got to that happy hour at Universal, it was all hugs. Everyone felt like they knew everybody, and it was instantly being able to go right into conversations and talk about how things were going because we had spent that year developing the relationship, albeit electronically, but it really manifests itself at those events. And there's nothing better than going to one of these events like Connection, or maybe it's a business mastermind, or I know y'all have a podcast about all the different events that you can attend. No one wants to go there and try to find a table to sit at because they don't know anyone, or just kind of sit in the corner and not engage. You would love to know that you're going into an environment where you already have some friends, where you can link up and have a good time with them there and share lessons learned. And the network we are building is exactly that. So the people that will be attending Connection for the first time this year or next year that are part of our group, they've got a table to sit at because of the network that we built here. They've got folks that they can talk to and engage with and go out to whatever the local attractions are together. And they don't have to spend all the time alone in the room or anything like that because of the network we built. And I think, again, maybe not so much a tangible win, but it's certainly an important win and a success for this organization or this network.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And Mike, I think it's a tangible, intangible, because there's no way to know exactly what that means to people all the time. There'll be people who will tell you, and there will just be people who it just means so much to them. Listening to you all, it's doing my heart good to know I've had the distinct pleasure and honor of getting to be at both of those happy hours with the group and with the community. And I saw it and I can feel it. So it's really, really good. Hey, let's do this real quick before I turn it back over to Chris and see what kind of fun question he has for you all. But I think it's really important for us to take a moment and share with everyone listening, in case they are not connected to military and travel. If you have come into the Nexion community and you are a dependent, a vet, or whatever, how do they join? And is there any prerequisites?
There's no prerequisites whatsoever, other than, like you just mentioned, you need to be military affiliated, Canada or US. And so you can join the Nexion Town group. It's military and travel. Or we also have a Facebook page, Nexion Military and Travel. And both of those ways you can join. You can also email Mike or I. We're happy to give out our emails. However, Coach Martin might want to give that information out. We meet every first Thursday of the month. We meet at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern by a Zoom call. And so those are the ways to get involved. And then, of course, we try to do a connection meetup every single year. But there's no prereqs. So if you are military affiliated, jump on Nexion Town, join the military and travel group, find me or Mike on Nexion Town, and then send us a message and say, hey, I want to get involved. We will make sure you get connected in and make sure that you know what's going on. So definitely. And we're also, I've been talking with Esther about that. When they do the Vets and Travel program, like as they're going started off, right away they'll be told about the military and travel, and then know to communicate and connect in with us.
And of course,
anything to add, Mike? Yeah,
being a member of Nexion, correct? And Rachel, I think, mentioned that we have had folks that have found the Facebook page that may be researching getting into the business and have reached out to, I know folks have reached out to me. I think they've reached out to Rachel as well, or the Facebook page in general, and said, I'm not a travel agent yet. I'm going to retire from the military, but I thought I'd join this group. We do want you to be a member of Nexion and military affiliated. But with those people, we've been able, Rachel or I, has been able to engage with them and say, what questions can we answer about your transition? Before you become a travel agent, is there some type of discussion you'd like to have, questions you have, or why are you considering Nexion? And I know we have at least one member that that's kind of how the process started. Found out about the network and engaged with us. I was able to have a long conversation with them on the phone. Rachel may have as well. And now Ducky Travel is a member of Nexion, and that journey began because of the Military and Travel Network.
That is right. There are prereqs, Nexion and military related. My mind was going to once you've already done the vet program.
Right.
But you are correct in making sure they understand. Yes, Nexion military affiliated would be prereqs. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And little did we know, y'all are also recruiters for Nexion. That's awesome.
Our military related. We do love recruiting, and we love.
Well, taking the time to just do that is like the above and beyond, but that's what leadership does. So thank you again very much. And Chris, let me turn it over to you.
Yep. First of all, before I ask this silly question, just let me say thank you both very much, both for what you're doing and also for taking the time to talk to us about it. Now, as I mentioned before, at the end of these conversations, I always like to ask a question that's maybe not relevant to the topic, but it's revealing. It gives the audience a little something. It tells them a little something about you, helps them learn a little something about who you are. So I'm going to ask you both this question. I think I already know the answer for one of you, but who is your celebrity crush?
Oh,
you all have one. I think we're all four happily married people on this call, but we all have a celebrity crush. I want to know who's yours.
you know mine. You already know mine. So
Yeah, I do.
About me. Actually, it's evolved. Yeah, I have two now.
Okay.
So you want me to give both?
Sure.
Okay. So my first one, which I've been very open about, is George W. Bush. It always cracks people up. Has nothing to do with anything other than when I was younger. Have you seen his pictures from when he was in the military in like 1960s and 70s? Like, it's phenomenal, and he is hilarious. So, yes, George W. Bush. I've had a crush on for a long time, but I have a new one. He's isn't the weird one. I have a crush on the lead singer of a band called Sleep Token. His name is Vessel. He's my newest crush, Chris. So I'm going to surprise and delight you that I actually have a new one. So those are my two celebrity crushes.
I'm so glad to hear George Bush wasn't the weird one.
Yeah. Well, he might still many people.
Sleep Token and Vessel remind me of bands that would be on the regular show or something like that. But for any regular show fans out there. So I don't know that I'm allowed to, say these things when this is going to air, but here we go. And hopefully this counts because you didn't mention they had to be living. I just know that when my wife does travel out of town and maybe she's going to visit her sister for a week or something like that, after she's been out of town for several days, I always find myself finding an Audrey Hepburn movie to watch to kind of remind me of her. So that's probably the one I'll have to go with. It would be Audrey Hepburn, and that is a epitome of class and beauty right there that I think meets the mark as celebrity crush. Again, I know she's not living, so I hope that doesn't come off as too weird. It's not more weird than what Rachel said, but that's what I'm going with, Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, I embrace my weirdness. Okay.
Yeah, and don't worry, mine's a politician too, former Arizona Senator Kirsten Sinema. So don't feel bad about that. That one requires me to do a lot of explaining too. Martin, you want to share yours just because we've all shared up?
I'll just put it out there. A woman with a guitar and a good voice is always there. And this is somebody that I've been listening to from the time that I was like 20 years old and sort of grown up with her and her music, Jewel. So if anyone knows Jewel,
yeah,
I would say that's, Alaska Girl herself. That's mine.
Well, you were going to say David Bowie for a second, which is my second.
Hey, we love who we love.
That's right. That's right. All right. This has been fun.
So much. Martin, do you want to close this out? Do you have anything else to ask?
Nothing. So take us to the close, other than to say again, just like Chris said, thank you both for being on with us. This has both been fun, enlightening, and really good. And thank you both for your leadership and taking the time with us today.
Thank you. We really
for thinking of us.
Yeah, we appreciate you having us on here. We appreciate the fact that you guys have given a very strong voice to the military in Nexion through both the Vets and Travel and the Military and Travel groups. And we just really appreciate both you and Chris for what you're doing with the podcast for the travel industry. So thank you.
When this episode comes out, you can be sure we'll promote it across the network.
Awesome. We'll hold you to it. Chris, take it away.
Love it. Thank you both so much. And from all of us here at Nexion to all of you, until next time, easy travels.
Easy travels, everyone. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.